Hey everyone, I am Jason616 and you wouldn't hear me say this often, but my name is Jason Allen and I suffer from depression and have glimpses of anxiety. I'm going to tell you a bit more about me. This is a very personal video and you might come across as me not being so fun-loving and happy with a smile on my face as per usual, because today is a very serious topic. And I'm going to open the doors and invite you into my world outside of streaming, outside of YouTube, outside of anything that I've done in the public eye. It's a very heart-to-heart conversation, I guess, and something that I don't know how I'm going to tackle, and I have no plans on where this is going to go. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour, I have no idea. I'm going to invite you in onto a bit of my journey, so you can understand. As you know, I am doing the Battle Against the Blues charity stream coming up on February 22nd, and it is all raising money for Beyond Blue Australia, which raise awareness for anxiety, depression and suicide, and it's a big part of my life, and I thought, well, it's about time I did something to give back as well, knowing that I'm in their position. Back in October, me and a good friend of mine through Universal Game Events did a 24-hour stream for Telethon, the kids in Perth. 24 hours we played games for, and it was an incredible experience. There was some highs, there was some very highs, and there was some parts where I actually got sick and had to go out the room and throw up and things like that. It was a hard 24 hours, but it taught me a lot, and that's why I'm coming back to do a charity stream which is close to my heart, and it's 12 hours this time, half the length, but let's see what we can do. Growing up, I was a pretty normal kid. I didn't have a bad life. I had good parents. I was born in England. I moved here. Parents chose to move here for a better life for us kids growing up, which is I'm very thankful to them for, because it's a beautiful country. I never really got overly picked on in school. I had people that picked on me. Luckily, I had the ability to laugh at myself and didn't really take anything to heart. I had a small group of friends, very loyal friends, but after school finished, I didn't really stay in contact with many of them. I was a happy-go-lucky kid. I used to go out when I was 18 and go out drinking, have some fun. If you were to ask my dad would call me the, I guess, he'd almost like the life of the party, I guess. The life of the party is what he said, I think. Don't know if that's word for word, but pretty much the life of the party. Well, it wasn't until 2012 where I lived out of home with two other people and her two kids. I was good friends with the guy and her, and he ended up losing his job. I was working at the time. He ended up losing his job, but because his work, he was from England, so because of his work made him lose his job, he had to find a job in 12 weeks, otherwise he was being deported back to England. He was a good friend of mine, and he didn't find work. I found myself out of work as well, which meant I had no money coming in. And that's when I first started feeling pretty depressed. It was at this time that I was wrestling, because for those who don't know, I was doing wrestling. I had really injured my neck in 2011, and people probably know that if you come onto my streams. I took only 3 months off, and I was in agony. I was being pissed about where I was wrestling. The promoters didn't want to do anything with me. I was a mid-carder at best, if you know what that is in wrestling terms. I was hurting, I was sore, I had no job. One of my best friends was being deported. I couldn't afford to stay at home at that house. It was just all was very toxic. Everything around me, my parents were an hour away as well, so they weren't even close to me. And the place I lived was a shithole, which didn't help. Not only that though, but the two kids loved spending time with me, but that seemed to be they seemed to be wanting my attention very often, which was taxing because I didn't have any of my own time. So it was a very toxic environment, and I got so down on myself, I decided I was going to be leaving wrestling. I said, that's it, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'll go until this date. I can't keep going. I'm stuffed. And everything got the best of me, and I found myself just staying in my room from roughly 16 hours a day, maybe, sometimes more. I ate bad food, I put on weight, I stopped caring for my body, I stopped caring about anything. I didn't stay in contact with friends. There was only one friend that I stayed in contact with at that time, and she was pretty much like a sister to me. And it just became, I wasn't helping my own problems. I didn't seek any help. I didn't even know that what I had was depression at the time. It was more, I guess, about survival. But there was a period of time, it's about October 2012, where I couldn't deal with surviving anymore. And I actually tried to take my own life. And funny thing is that, and I've never told this story publicly, and I don't even know if my parents know this, so should have probably told them before I got out live with this, is that I actually was going to hang myself. And this is a bit of a shocker, I know. I had the rope in one hand and I had my phone in the other, and it was like this or this. Can I call for help, or will this be the end of me? One or the other. And I didn't choose the phone. I chose the latter. I chose the end. And as you would think, well, if you chose the end, then why are you still here? My phone rang. As I was preparing for the end, my phone rang, and it was my one best friend I'm close to. And I was bawling my eyes out when this was happening. And I've never felt like that low before in my life. I think I was upset because I knew this wasn't me, but I didn't have an explanation for what it was. Even in my bawling state, I answered the phone, and that phone call literally saved my life. Literally saved my life. And that person that was on the other end of the phone, I'm not going to name names, let's just say Jay. Okay? So Jay had no idea what was even happening in the present. She just called me to see how I was going and to catch up and talk. It was that I found a tiny little bit of self-worth, that even in my desperate times, that there was someone that wanted to actually talk to me. And it didn't just flick a switch in my head. It was more so of, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I knew that night I did not want to feel something like that again. I knew that no matter what I do, I've got to fight back against this, because it's not a feeling that I want to have. In November, end of November, I moved out of that house. I moved back in with my parents. Maybe 8 years ago now. I was 22, turning 23-ish, I think 22-ish. I moved back in with my parents. I worked my ass off to find a job. I stayed in contact with very few friends. I retired from wrestling. My body was recuperating. And that's when I found a new friend called Kara, and that was in 2013, who is now my partner and my girlfriend today. And to say that we've been through hell is an understatement. She suffers from chronic anxiety, but more so in social anxiety. And she has been depressed. I've seen her down on her luck. When I met her, I felt like I'd found a friend. It made me happier. But seeing her over the years from 2013 through to about 2017, I could see that that her anxiety was getting really bad. Like, she couldn't even make phone calls. I had to make the phone calls. See, I never had social anxiety. I've never been anxious. Even though I got depressed and went through that, I have never had anxiety. But she got really down. She couldn't find work. We managed to go for a couple of years. We lost our friendship. We regained it back due to circumstances and other stuff happening. That's not important to the story. I had actually gone back to wrestling, funny enough, and was wrestling again. Even after taking a year off, I got the phone call to come back. I came back. I ended up staying on. I was going to do some stuff with helping pull up the young kids, but they ended up bailing, and then I was back in the ring full time again. I don't know how it happened. It's a mix up. But we ended up going to Scandinavia for Christmas, and when we got back, we decided to move out together. I asked her out. We were friends for a couple of years. I asked her out on her birthday, about 5 or 6 weeks before we went to Scandinavia, and we booked a trip as friends. We ended up going as partners. So when I got back, we moved out. We moved into our house, me and Cara, and we got our very first doggy in Tanya, who we got on the day that my grandma passed a year or two ago, hence the name Tanya Isabella. Isabella or Isabel was my grandma's name. So it was then that when we told that we were moving south of the river in Australia, in Perth, that we would be going there, and it's closer to the wrestling and where the friends were and that kind of thing. Everyone was so ecstatic that we were moving closer, and they were so excited to see us and everything like that. And then when we got there, we realized that no motherfucker ever really came to see us. So it was one of those, oh wow, is this a pointless thing? What have we done? It got worse because it got better before it got worse. I found through wrestling that I was, the promoter had picked me to become the company's main champion, which was fantastic because that was the belt all the way back in 2009 when I started. I wanted to capture it, and it meant the world to me. It was just absolutely fantastic news. I was just blown away, like holy hell, like I'm gonna be top of the mountain. That's all I've ever wanted, was to be top of the mountain in wrestling. And after all the injuries, leaving and coming back, and it was like, this is happening, this is great. I won that belt, and that's when it went downhill for me again. I got really down because the promoter, who I know when I first started my Jason616 channel, was watching me, and in the ring they were, even in wrestling, even though I had left, were saying things at their events. Well, at least we don't sit on our ass and play video games because we can't hack it. And they were actually cheekily throwing insults at me since I started my gaming channel back in the start of 2018. So that was a nice feeling. But the wrestling environment became toxic, and everyone just became so arrogant. They were out for themselves. Not everyone. There were a couple of people that stuck by me. However, I chose to leave. I'd gone from being the top of the mountain to them not wanting to do anything with me a month later. I don't know what their problem is. Still to this day, I don't know what their problem is. On the same day, we had our dog's first birthday, and we did a little charity event for the RSPCA on that day. And we were part of a group of dog owners that have Chihuahua breeds. We have a Chihuahua Jack Russell. And something kicked off there, and next thing you know, we got completely taken out of that group of people, even though we were no part of anything. So in the same weekend, we lost our group of wrestling friends and wrestling, and our environment where we take our dog, where we know a lot of people. We lost all that. So that's when it started going downhill. Kara wasn't working. She was at home. I was the breadwinner of the family. I was the only one earning. I wasn't driving. I had to get a bus and a train, and a bus just one way to work. It was taxing. We were really out the way. We were so far away from family. They couldn't just come and see us. Kara would just sleep the day away because she was very depressed. And when I came home, I only had like 4 hours before I needed to go to bed, and I had to have dinner and shower and stuff in between that. And she'd be so excited because she slept all day and she wanted to spend time with me, but I was just falling asleep because I was exhausted. We weren't really cooking because she didn't have the motivation. We really let ourselves go. I put on weight, like I was a fat shit. If you saw the videos on the start of my channel, like I was quite big, which I'm now 10 kilos down. Yay. But that's not important. In that house, it got bad. It got really bad. I felt like no one wanted me. I lost all my friends. I started the channel because I wanted something to do. It was then I really wanted something to do because I'd done wrestling for the best part of 10 years. And I was really upset with how that happened. And even today, like when I look back, like now I know that that I could look at it and say that I stood up proud to myself, but it was really, I don't even know why I was treated like shit. And I guess that's the worst thing, is that I don't know why. But I can now hold my head high knowing that what I've done, and knowing the way I dealt with it was the best way, because I never went and publicly said things about them. Maybe I'm doing that now, but I'm still not saying a bad word about them, because that's just my morals. I'm not publicly going to go and ruin someone. If I was going to do that, I would have said their name, but I haven't done that. It's not me. But it hurt. It really hurt. And I went to another promotion that said, we don't want what you've been for 10 years almost. We just want to mold you into what we want to mold you. And then they didn't want me, and they weren't putting me on shows, and they were putting kids that had about 3 months worth of training to someone who had 9 years of training, and they just wouldn't put me on a show. It was hurting because I just didn't understand. I didn't get it. I just couldn't comprehend what the hell was happening. So I chose to leave wrestling altogether after 9 years, and I was just saying to my partner, I really want to get to 10 years. I didn't get there. And I left, and I never got a goodbye at that stage. I started working on my channel. My channel originally was my partner's idea. I used to watch Achievement Hunter, Markiplier, people like that, you know. And she said, why don't you do that? Like, you have all the stuff, you have all the consoles, why don't you do that? So I did. And my channel has grown into this. But that's not where it ends up, because the past 6 months have been the hardest 6 months of my life. I found myself out of work again. I worked for someone that was just taking advantage of me, paying me casual as an admin when I was more than that, and realized he wasn't paying my superannuation the entire time I was there, so I'm chasing that up. But these past 6 months, I don't have any money to my name. If you were to look at my bank account right now, I have 53 cents. And here I am, doing all I can to raise money for a charity when I should be putting money into my own back pocket. But funny that, isn't it? I'm completely broke. I can't even pay my car off at the moment. Bills are stacking up, and I'm doing a charity event, and I guess that just goes to show how important this is and how much this has affected my life. I am in these 4 walls every day. I can't afford to run my car. I can't afford to go anywhere. I can't afford to buy anything. the government is giving me enough money to live, they say. And put it this way, I'm getting $60 a week to survive on. That's after I can actually pay my rent. But those $60 has to go towards electricity, water, gas, food on the table. I've not been able to put food on the damn table for 6 months. Kara is literally the only one doing that. It's not living conditions. That gets me down. Know that you can't go anywhere or do anything. I don't have any friends here, really. I have one or two, and they have their own lives. It's not their responsibility to be around and pick me up all the time. And luckily enough, doing the streaming and being on Twitch and doing YouTube has found some valuable people in my life that are very good support anchors for me, that are there to listen, that go through the same thing, and for them I'm so grateful. That's why for me it's so important to be doing a stream like this, because going through the things that I have done, and they might not sound brutal, I've left out some details, the problems with family members that are getting me down right now. Christmas was all over the place. I've never felt so alone in my life. I can't do anything, I can't pay to go anywhere. My life is this. I enjoy my channel. It's the only thing that keeps me smiling. It is very, very hard to sit in this house every single day feeling so alone, and that gets you so down, and it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. And that's why this came from here, because I know how it feels to feel alone, and I know how it feels to just want to give up. But that's why I battle against the blues, because it's a constant battle every single day to wake up and find motivation to do something. To find motivation to just cook a meal in the house, or just honestly do a stream. When the cameras go off sometimes, I'm just head in hands and I'm like, how the fuck did I get through that? Because some days are so hard, and it's why I didn't just want to do this, I needed to do this, because I needed to reach out and show people that there are people that might seem so happy on the outside, but on the inside they are falling apart, and they don't know how to speak to people, they don't know how to raise it, they don't know how to even bring it up, they don't know what to do. And this is a platform that I want to use to do something good with it. I go through depression. I am more anxious than ever now, because I don't know if someone's going to judge me or what they think of me or anything like that. And that never used to be me. Life of the party, remember. And I want people to gather round and ask your friends, are you okay? And if people, make people aware of your situation. I want to, beyond blue, raise awareness for anxiety, depression and suicide here in Australia. The facts shocked me. 1 in 4 people in Australia suffer depression. 1 in 4 people, that's a quarter of this country. I know one person in my life that has actually told me physically that they have that, and that's my partner. 1 in 4 people. 1 in 5 are girls, 1 in 4 are men. It's a shocker, and that's why this stream is so important. And guys, be there and help me raise awareness for anxiety, depression and suicide. Speak up. Use my stream as a platform if you need to. Send me a message, do whatever you need to do. If I need to be your rock, because after this video and opening up to you people and talking about this so publicly, if I am the person that you need to talk to, then message me. Just don't be alone. I've suffered in silence long enough that I'm not going to allow myself to do that, and I'm not gonna go back to what I was. I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna fight for my goddamn life to get out of this situation that I'm in. This stream is a way of expressing myself. So come along, February 22nd, Battle Against the Blues on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/Jason616. Be there, guys. 6 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. We're kicking off. Guys, make sure you donate to a worthy cause and help me raise awareness for this, for the people that suffer. For the people that are suffering in silence and don't want to suffer no more. Please, if you want to be part of this stream and you want to tell your story, hit me up, please. Let me know what you're going through on a daily basis, because I struggle myself and it is so important that we do something about it. Guys, we'll see you on the stream.